party in the country.
Mr Major ended the campaign with an unexpected boost. New Labour demonstrators, led by the leader of the Labour Lovies, the millionaire author Ken Follett, heckled him from the crowd, giving him just the cue he wanted.
Now, just let's confirm this. You're a Labour supporter. You're not in favour of privatisation.
Fully, no.
You are in favour of more spending and higher taxes.
Mr Major has always thrived on this kind of electioneering, and this was one of the roughest scrums of the campaign. But this was precisely the image Mr Major wanted to project, the tough leader fighting to the end. He later found himself in a more sympathetic crowd. He insists that the response he's had throughout the campaign shows that the Tory support is still there. But his decision to go for a 6-week campaign does not appear to have produced the results he hoped. The allegations of Tory sleaze at the start and the divisions over Europe have obscured the argument he wanted to get over about the strength of the economy. Today's photo opportunity was at Wembley. He was not making predictions, but Conservative Central Office took the unusual step of quoting their private polls as showing them 5 to 6 points behind, with the gap closing. But that is a huge deficit to make up in a day. Not impossible, they claimed, given the experience at the last election, but a recovery that would nevertheless surprise many of those around him who have virtually given up and shock Labour. The Labour leader and his peripatetic deputy met up in the crowds of Stockton today for what they were determined should not be seen as a premature celebration.
And on this day, the day before the election, I say to people again, you either wake up on Friday the 2nd of May with another 5 years of the most discredited, sleazy government in living memory. Well, if you don't want that, come out, support us tomorrow and end up with a new Labour government and a better future for Britain.
That message was repeated throughout the day.
Vote for it and let us build that better Britain together. Thank you.
But despite their anxiety not to be seen to be taking the electorate for granted, Labour is pretty confident it's going to win, though not necessarily with a huge majority. Their whole strategy has been defensive, avoiding any gaffes and closing down any Tory attacks. And despite some early wobbles on privatisation and Scottish devolution, they have largely succeeded in deflecting the assaults. By no means all potential Labour voters are as enthusiastic as the photo opportunities suggest. But Mr Blair's offer of incremental change rather than dramatic change seems to have caught the public mood, which appears to be for a change of government rather than a new Jerusalem.
What colour is it?
The Liberal Democrats were the only people allowing themselves to relax this morning. They have succeeded this time in talking most of the time about policy rather than tactics, which is unusual for a third party. Today they were predicting that the Tory vote would sink to its lowest share this century, which would mean below 36%, and that this would increase their influence in the next Parliament.
The power that people entrust to us to insist on sensible policies in relation to education or health or crime, and a progressive and sensible policy in relation to Europe, with the people's consent through a referendum, will be secured. Our ability to deliver those things will increase as Labour's divisions become manifest.
Paddy Ashdown then went on a last dash round the marginals at the end of what has been the most targeted campaign ever for his party. That may mean they get more seats, despite winning a smaller share of the vote. But if Mr Major does lose tomorrow, even by a smaller majority than implied by the polls, it will suggest that all the campaigning may have had little impact. The public may have simply decided months ago it wanted a change.